Hey there, folks. Big Rob here talking to you from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Just chilling out here at the house. I'm sort of in between gigs right now and spending a lot more time at home, just chillaxing. And recently, over the last couple of months, went through this long, lengthy court battle to modify my parenting plan with my ex-wife. She filed some paperwork with the court claiming that I had abandoned my kids and stuff, and which was obvious to anybody who knows me that that didn't happen. As a matter of fact, the paperwork went through the court system while I had my kids. So anyway, not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about when you get older and your kids decide that they're too cool to hang out with you anymore. Now, to clarify, I've got one who's going to be 18 in probably about 13 days or so. He's a great kid. He does okay in school. He doesn't get in trouble with the law. He's motivated to become a Navy corpsman. Currently has a part-time job. Works at a tire sales place down in Denver. And he does okay. He gets about 20 hours a week, and I think he's got himself a little girlfriend, stuff like that. But yeah, so he's just a little too cool to hang out with the old man anymore. And so when he was little, I mean, we were tight, and that's one of the things that I've been trying to kind of come to terms with is that they're growing older and, they're out making their own thing. But my other guy, he'll be 16 pretty soon in October. My little girl just turned 14 back in March. So my middle guy, he always wants to hang out with his dad. And I know that he'd rather live with his dad than his mom. For a variety of reasons, but his mom doesn't want that to happen, I'm sure, because it cuts into her bottom end. But he's a great kid, and he loves to go hunting and fishing, and he's never said no to going out into the woods and doing some fishing and stuff like that. He loves the outdoors and loves hanging out, but he's doing that typical almost 16 thing where he's looking for his identity, and he's a bit on the spectrum, and so the social stuff has been a challenge for him as well. But he likes to shoot his bow and go out to the range and shoot different stuff and catch fish. And if you've seen any of my Facebook stuff, you know that we fish a lot when he's here. My little girl, she's a really cool little kid and kind of a snarky little mouth on her, but which 14-year-old girl doesn't have one? At least, if I bellyache at her a little bit, she'll listen to some reason. But she's a bit of a slob, and I think that a lot of 14-year-old girls are probably pretty sloppy. But she listens, and if I ask her 15 times, by the 16th time to do something, I usually get some cooperation out of her. So good little girl, and she doesn't cause me a whole lot of heartache. Struggling with a bit of an identity crisis herself, but which teenager isn't struggling with identity? So for me, it's just I look at it. I'm almost married to a much younger woman, beautiful gal, and she has a 5-year-old. So there's a weird age disparity there, and it's almost like I'm starting over, but not really, because I'm learning new things about 5-year-olds that I didn't think about before. Developmentally and emotionally and stuff, and she's a cool chick. We spend some quality time together. I drop her off at school. We do donut Fridays. I've taken her fishing and stuff like that. There's also some pictures of that on my Facebook. But I'm not her dad, and I just hope to be a positive male role model in her life. But she knows that I'm not her dad, and that but I'm here for her. And sometimes she gets mad at me and goes to her mom. Sometimes she gets mad at me and doesn't speak. But, if you weren't doing everything right, even if you were doing everything or anything wrong, if your kids aren't getting mad at you, you're probably not steering them in the right direction. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's, yeah, she gets upset with me. Yes, she gets angry with me. But, developing a sense of independence with her, which she really, really has, but supervised independence, freedom doesn't mean anything if there aren't rules. And so, just some basic rules of decorum. We're working on that kind of stuff. So great kid, wonderful, smiling kid, always very energetic and happy to do stuff. But anyway, my older kids are just getting a little too cool to hang out with the old man. They call me up and ask me for my advice about things, and particularly my boys. They're like, Dad, in high school, how did you get girls? Well, um, what I tell them is that their dad was a total flop in high school. I had maybe two girlfriends the whole time I was in high school. One, her name was Melissa. She's a cute little redhead back in the day, and married, and I think got a couple of kids. And then there was another gal named Tanya when I was living in Dallas, Garland area. She's a really cool chick, and I honestly I don't know what happened to her, but her name was Tanya Young, and she and I probably went out for about a year or so. I took her to prom, I think, once, but the old man, I wasn't a ladies' man per se. I didn't have anything in the way of game. But once we moved to Palestine when I was my teen years, and when I left Palestine back in '85, I don't think I had a girlfriend. I don't remember having a girlfriend. When I joined the army, I think I was scot-free, but they talk about different things like that, hunting and fishing. My oldest son wants to go hog hunting this year, but I get the impression lately he really only calls me when he's interested in me paying for something, and so it's a precedent that I have to readjust. And so if you find out that your teenage kids are you're a divorced dad and you're living, I live 80 miles away from them, and for other reasons that have to do with their mother and finances. Denver's a very expensive city for a nurse, for anybody to try to live on, and for $70,000 or $80,000 a year, you can't afford to buy a house. You can't afford to buy groceries. Groceries are expensive. Housing is expensive. It's ridiculous. It's California level. A lot of people have moved from other states and bought up property, and so this guy over here says, "Well, this guy got $800,000 for his house. I want $850,000 for mine." And it's gotten out of control. I think it's tapered off just a little bit, but it's growing and growing. You're growing down there, and financially, a lot of people that are still working on mid-90s wages are trying hard to keep up. So that's one of the biggest reasons I moved up here. But it's hard. It's hard to see my kids, and for a while when I got back from Alaska, I was driving to Denver 3 weekends a month during the school year, taking the boys around to their hockey games and stuff like that. And sometimes I would drive down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday afternoon, Avery had to be at cheer practice at 5 o'clock, and so there wasn't a lot of time in Cheyenne to really do a whole lot of stuff. So there were some challenges, and I think it wore them down a little bit. But I enjoy seeing them. I enjoy spending time with them, and they always say things that make me laugh and make me giggle and stuff. And sometimes we go out to eat, and they want to do the cell phone thing, and when we have them put their cell phones down, it's incredible. We get a dialogue going back and forth, or we'll play a game or something like that. Avery's not too into the going fishing and hanging out outside thing, but she likes to hang at home, bit of a homebody, likes her video games, likes her, board games and stuff like that, challenge her mind and bullshit at the table, that kind of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to express to my kids how much I love them and how much they mean to me, and for people that know me, that I'm not bullshitting. I do love my kids, and for those single dads that are out there making it happen every single day, guys, it's hard to share parenting time with people that are ridiculously uncooperative, who have it in their mind that you somehow wronged them. But one of the things I learned during the whole process is that if you're married to somebody and they tell you all these different things that they will never do to you, let's see, I don't know a single married couple that's never had a conversation. Well, if we got divorced, I would never use the kids against you, or I would never do this, or I'd never rob you. That's exactly what those people are going to do when you decide the relationship's over, or they decide the relationship's over. But the most painful thing that I've been through is the parental alienation. Things like my kids show up, oh, mom says that you've got a replacement family now, you don't love us anymore, or any of those things. I mean, you gotta try to figure out how much of it's the truth and how much of it is sort of their interpretation. And one of the things that's really cool that separates us from the lower animals is perspective. And so taking it into perspective and remembering that you have an external ability to kind of control that stuff. But I would try to refrain from bad mouthing your ex in front of them. And the reason for that is, a lot of people tell me, oh, she'll get hers in the end, she'll get hers in the end. The reason for that is I think you just want to do things with class. I mean, unless you're a psychopath or, a narcissist like my ex-wife, or a sociopath where you just say stuff and you don't care who gets hurt. But I feel like that if you just keep that stuff kind of on the down low, maybe talk to your spouse about your new girlfriend or whatever, but don't. I also wouldn't spend a lot of time talking about your ex with your new lady, even if you guys have been together a couple of years. I'm fortunate enough to have a very supportive person in my life, and when I plan for weeks to have my son down here, for example, and he cancels at the last minute because he's got a date, whatever, he's going to be 18 soon. Who am I to say, no, you can't go out on your date, you have to come hang out with your dad? So, we figured it out, and he'll come, another time, and he'll get to spend the whole weekend because he'll take the day off from work. So, I think just keeping things in perspective for me has been the most helpful. When I went out to Alaska in 2016, it was to sew some things up in my life, and a lot of those things have been sewed up, financially and spiritually and emotionally and mentally and all that kind of stuff. But don't be afraid to tell them how you feel. Let them not be afraid to tell you how they feel. And in the infinite words of Jordan Peterson, I would say, don't let them do anything to make you hate them, or make you angry at them. Just let them know that the things that you say and the things that you do are in their best interest, even if they're not there to witness that. And so, I'm, like I said, coming to terms with the reality that it's getting to the point where my kids are just going to be out on their own soon, and they'll want to see their dad less and less, and they'll want to be with their friends more and more and things like that. I don't think it'd be any different if I lived in Denver, to be honest with you. I think they would come to my house during my parenting time and disappear, if they had a car or something like that. But, I did that stuff too. I didn't hang around the house a lot when I was a teenager. I had work, I had friends, I had other things going on, and hanging out on the ranch, poking a cow or two or picking up cow poop just wasn't my thing. So anyway, this is Big Rob coming to you. Take care of your kids. Take care of yourself. Just remember, just a guy over 40. Talk to you soon. Bye.